had already planned it from like the moment before I walked up the stairs. I was like, I get to talk about Gerard Depardieu today. I like his name, Gerard Depardieu, and he's so weird.
Sound like Andy.
He's weird. Doop-a-doo-doo. Yeah. It's Chelsea at the movies, yay!
We watched Den of Thieves, starring Gerard Butler. You might ask, why'd you watch Den of Thieves? I'm going to give you 3 reasons. We had just watched Angel Has Fallen, and Netflix was like, hey, do you want to watch this other movie starring Gerard Butler that recently came out, 2018, and is in Netflix top 10? And I was like, yes, I do.
She was like, yes. It was
now,
like, I took a little more convincing.
Needed a little more convincing. You went to what convinced you? What made you say yes to that? Because you went to Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't think the Rotten Tomatoes thing would have put you over.
I saw The Ringer, I saw the headline of the title that argued that this was an unappreciated gem of heist movie. And I was like, I like heist movies, and this movie seems to be, this 2-year-old movie is performing well on Netflix this week, and
thanks to quarantine, probably, I assume.
So I was interested in it.
Yeah. So Den of Thieves stars Gerard Butler. It's actually kind of I guess it's not similar to Angel Has Fallen, but it is in the similar sphere of like, action, figure this out kind of type movie.
It's got Gerard
kind of
Butler.
Military, law enforcement, action, that kind of thing. And yeah, so Gerard Butler plays a cop for the LA Sheriff's Department, LASD. There's this other team of, we'll call them bad guys, and they're like pulling over this big, huge heist, and they're kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
And also really tough.
Tactical and smart.
Movie also supporting, whatever, 50 Cent.
Diddy.
So like,
Curtis
Jackson. Yeah. Kelsey, go wait or skip.
I have to say, go see this movie. I thought the Rotten Tomatoes score was sinfully low. And I think the audience score is more like this movie. I thought this movie entertained me. It was super interesting the way they played with that dynamic between the police and the so-called bad guys and how they kind of showed what's probably closer to reality in a lot of situations. And it was 2.5 hours, which concerned me before we watched it.
2:20.
But it did not seem like 2.5 hours because it was a good movie.
I'm going to say it's really hard for me because I wasn't sure and I changed my mind. So had you asked me like right after the movie, I would have been closer to a go. Now it's been 2 days and I'm kind of closer to a skip. But I'm going to say wait. I'm going to average out to a wait. I did find it interesting how they portrayed like, good guys, bad guys, and kind of like mix things up a little bit. Like, I liked that. But there was a way they kind of didn't finish out, like, character arcs and then slapped on an ending that I was like, huh.
Oh, the ending was epic, though.
I was like, huh. Spoilers.
Look, here's a spoiler for you, and I was told this by my wife years ago. There is a sturdy group of people, mostly made up of women, who love Gerard Butler and go see all his movies.
I told you.
Yeah, you told me this thing about Gerard Butler a long time ago. So every time you've wanted to watch a Gerard Butler movie, I've wondered, is Rachel secretly part of this group of women who wants to watch these random Gerard Butler movies? Is that why Netflix is like, hey, you'll probably like this movie too? I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility. I thought Gerard Butler's performance in this movie was really good because he's usually just playing something like Gerard Butler or whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's not like a guy. It's not like, what's the guy that...
Well, he has 2 characters. He's either
he's very
action,
successful.
like, kind of guy, or he plays a character that really plays off his comedic timing and humor, which he has a certain, like, charismatic charisma to him that plays well to that.
Really, his character was dynamic and interesting and not like... It wasn't like good guys versus bad guys. It was like these guys versus these guys, which I think most of life usually is.
Yeah.
And so I liked seeing that on the screen, and there wasn't anybody really to root against in this movie. You weren't like, oh, I hope these guys get caught, or I hope these guys win, or whatever. It was more just like this story that kept you interested, kept you engaged, And I didn't predict the end, which is common when I watch movies like this. Like, it was unpredictable, and I really thought it was shot well. I thought there was a lot of action, and I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I thought, so this was definitely a better movie than Angel Has Fallen. The story was more complex so if we just look at the heist, at one point I turned to Kelsey and I was like, I don't understand, but it wasn't because, like, they did a good job putting it together, but, like, I couldn't figure out. I was like, oh, now they're going to do this, and now they're going to do that. And then I was like, why are they at this little podunk bank now? Like, I don't get it. They were at the Federal Reserve. Like, it really, like, kept me, like, going. And the heist, I thought was really interesting. Then you throw on top of that the Gerard Butler versus, like, the other guy. I can't remember his character's name.
Sorry, other guy.
And that you had, good guy, bad guy, or you had cops and, criminals.
Cops and robbers.
But, like, Gerard Butler's life is clearly falling apart.
Well, one of them is, like, you said it good the other day. You said Gerard Butler, who represents law and order, he lives the disordered life. And this other person who represents disorder, secret with society, he was like super ordered and super on top of something and super smart.
Yeah, everything, like the criminal, like the lead guy there, like everything, he had everything planned. He was in charge. He knew what was going on. Gerard Butler, like, people were like, gosh, you don't look so good. Like, he started the movie looking like he was hungover. His wife leaves him, like, and it's like a messy, like, way that she leaves him.
I thought that was portrayed really realistically, too. The way that they would fight.
Yeah, the way you fight in front of your kids. You don't want to fight like that in front of your kids, but your emotions run high. And then this other guy, like, they had this scene where the whole, like, gang is over at, like, 50 Cent's character's house, and his daughter's going to prom. But they're all there to kind of, like, intimidate, like, her date. And it's because they love each other. Like, they're like a family. And, Gerard Butler's family just fell apart. So it was really interesting to, like, have that. But there were no character arcs, right? Like, Gerard Butler, we didn't see him make amends with his wife. We didn't see him repent of anything. We did see him just, like, express emotion. So there was one point where he got back in his vehicle, and I think he had just talked to his younger daughter, and he just cried. And I thought, like, and I don't mind movies that kind of just put something out there, and they're like, well, here's it is. Here it is. Like, we're not going to paint the end for you. We're not going to pull it all together. I kind of like that. Here's what I didn't like, was that the movie could have ended right with those two guys. It came back to them on a one-on-one, like, chase. One of them dies. Like, it comes back to them, but instead, then we got another
I liked it, though. I was like, what?
It came out of nowhere.
It reminded me of, what's it, Reservoir Dogs?
Well, kind of, but, like, it was, like...
Is that the movie?
They came out of nowhere with, like, this other criminal who was, like, had a minor part in this whole heist. He's actually the mastermind.
He was really the mastermind, fools.
But we had no, like, look into his life. The movie didn't take us with him. So I felt like, oh, well, what was the point of the rest of this? And that's why I ended up leaning towards a skip. Because I felt like it was superficial to take me on this kind of, like hokey, like, oh, he's a real mastermind, and now look at him. He's in London with a British accent. Like, I just thought it was kind of cheesy. And I didn't get to, like, learn about him. I was here for these other two. And it was like, oh, forget those guys. I mean, they wouldn't even be, like, I don't know. Anyway, that's why I leaned towards a skip. I thought that...
You felt like you got controlled.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Okay, that's understandable. I guess that feeling, you're like, I like that. I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, awesome. This is a cool ending, and I don't know. I thought it was a really well-made movie, a movie I had never heard of before, a movie that featured at least two popular UFC fighters, and you know what I mean? Like, I was like, how did I not see this movie?
A win for Rachel, because often I'm like, Kelsey, let's watch this movie. We should watch it. And then we do, and it's like, oh, disappointing. But not this case. This case, Rachel was like, hey, let's watch Den of Thieves, and then Kelsey reluctantly ended up agreeing, and now he's happy that he did.
I was like, this movie's pretty good. About halfway through it. About halfway through this movie, I was like, this is a good movie. I like this movie.
Yeah. So it was really well made. Definitely, if you like this kind of, like, masculine, ego, heist
movies
law
are good.
enforcement action. They had guns, like this whole thing, like, and you really want to like get into like, you know, people who trained, like you could tell the actors trained to hold their weapons like military people would. Then you'll totally like this. Yeah. You also obviously like Rachelsey at the movies.
Obviously.
So if you like Rachelsey at the movies, like this video, comment if you want to. But hey, subscribe. Please subscribe. Was that too much?
No.
Okay. I felt like my please at the end was maybe a little over the top.
Please!